And we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Top of the morning on this 17th day of October. We're early. We're 5 minutes early. I check in early so that I can do a technology check before we get into the actual broadcast. So good morning and greetings to everybody out there in the Facebook world, in the Twitter world, in the YouTube world, out there in the educational world. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. I see we got California checking in, so that's early out there. So you know I appreciate folks that check in from Pacific time and Mountain time. And as a matter of fact, folks that check in from different parts of the world. So for those of you who are new to me, we start at 11 on time. We start promptly, but I come on early so that I can just check out my technology because I'm using 4 different platforms. So I'm here and I'm just making sure that they all work. So don't mind me. But while we're waiting for 11 o'clock, get your coffee, get your tea, get your juice, get your water. Let somebody know Principal Kafele is back stronger than ever on this 17th day of October, this 25th week of the Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. I used to call it my Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy, but it's ours. So I just call it our or the Principal Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. Let a friend know. Let a family member know. Let a colleague know. Let somebody that maybe they're not even an assistant principal or a school administrator or an aspiring administrator, but they're just in leadership. If they're a classroom teacher, they're a leader. Let me tell you something. If they're a paraprofessional, a teacher aide, they're a leader. If they're a custodian, they're a leader. If they're security, they're a leader. Everybody within the school community, secretary, they're a leader. So therefore, the broadcast is actually relevant for everybody, right? Everybody. So hit that share button, somebody in the Facebook world, and let them know we're back live. Twitter, hit that retweet button and let them know we're back live. We're getting ready to drop some information in a few minutes, couple of minutes. YouTube, let the folks know I'm here. We're here and we're live. And we're getting ready to bring it for the 25th consecutive week. For those of you that don't know, we're taking this thing all the way to May of 2021. 55 consecutive weeks, God willing. You know, I got to be healthy, right? So God willing, we're talking 55 consecutive weeks of the Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. Those of you who are just checking in, we didn't start yet. I'm checking this technology, making sure that it's working. You know, I'm using 4 platforms. I need those platforms to work. I pay for these platforms. They're not free, you know, in terms of the StreamYard service, the streaming service that I use. Right. So I'm almost done, and then we should be ready to go. I got a lot to talk about. You see, I'm rocking Jackie Robinson today. I'm even wearing the hat, right? So the cap. So, you know, we just going full Jackie Robinson today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good to see you all. I see those names. I see so many familiar names. I see folks I know personally, and I see folks that I know through cyberspace. So you friends as well. So whomever you are, I'm glad you're here. By the way, as you're checking in, let me know if you've been with me for 25 weeks. You know how that's always good to know. Who are the faithful? Who are the hungry ones, right? I know some of you it's hard to check in live, so you'll go to YouTube and watch it during the week, because I look at those view counts and there's a lot of people watching during the week, so that's not a bad thing either. It's just that I want you to come in live because I want you to get this fire, right? So let me know where you're coming from. If you've been here 25 weeks, maybe 24, maybe 23, let me know so that I know what I'm working with. You know, we still got a long way to go. We haven't even reached the halfway point yet. We're going 55 weeks. Man, that's a whole lot of talking, right? But look here, I'm trying to do my part to impact education. So it's 11 o'clock. It's time to get started. So let me say to you formally now, good morning, and good morning greetings. I don't know about you, but let me speak for me. It's October 17th, and I'm on fire. Man, let me tell you something, y'all. I'm blazing this morning. I got a lot of energy this morning. I got a lot to talk about this morning. The world is going through all sorts of challenge, man. You and I have never seen anything like this before. We've never seen it. When we talk about global pandemic, when we talk about social change, when we talk about an election year, right? A very contentious election, and just all the things going on in our lives, right? The impact of the virus on education and how you deliver education every day, how you lead education every day, right? So we're contending with all that, but despite that, I continue to be on fire. So my word of the day, very quickly, is determination. Once again, determination. And I'm saying to you, what an appropriate word this morning when we talk about determination, because see, with the challenges that you face, those of you who are still teaching, who are aspiring leaders, and having to find ways to engage young people on a platform like this, on a laptop computer, on a desktop computer, whatever the device that you're using, and the ability to engage young people when we know it's challenging to engage them in the actual classroom environment. So here we're trying to engage them on the computer. That's not easy, right? So certainly I salute you for what you do. But I'll say this to you. Despite the challenges, despite the obstacles, despite the difficulties, despite the pressures and demands, you got to be determined. You got to have that drive. You got to have that passion. You got to have that dog in you every day. So you got to bring it like that. So regardless of what's happening out here, and particularly looking at out here as variables that at the end of the day, you can't control them anyway. You don't have influence nor control over those variables out there that have you in this situation where your children are on a computer, whether we're talking about the classroom teacher or we're talking about the leadership who's leading the children and the staff, leading the school, in many cases an empty building, and everything is virtual. Your determination has to be elevated. Your determination has to be sky high. Your drive, your passion, your ambition to get it done, your aspiration to take it to another level, it's got to be intact. Shame on anybody that wakes up in the morning to do this work and you do not bring your fire with you. You do not bring your determination with you. You got to bring that on the journey along with you. So that was my word of the day, determination. I'm rocking Jackie Robinson today. Y'all see that, man. I'm just going full Jackie Robinson today. No Negro League jersey. We going Major League, but the Brooklyn Dodgers, right? So let me keep going. Today, I got a lot to talk about. We're in week 25. I always start out, I gotta push this, right? The Assistant Principal 50. This is the book that corresponds with this 55-week academy. So if you don't have your copy yet, you got to get your copy, right? Go to principalkafele.com. Go to amazon.org. No, that's com. Go to amazon.com or ascd.org. ASCD is the publisher. So there, .org, amazon.com, principalkafele.com, whatever you're going to use, get the book. This is the companion. I really want you to have this. I want you to have the text to go along with the 55 weeks of the Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. But while you're at it, get the companion, because most of you aspire to become a principal. So this is the Aspiring Principal 50, which most of you aspire to become. So I don't want you to get stuck solely in the assistant principal mode, but I want you also thinking about your next level, the aspiring Principal 50. These are two very different books, two dramatically different books. I don't want you to think, well, I got one, it probably corresponds with the other. Yeah, they correspond, but they're not the same book, right? So get your hands on this. By the way, I guess this is somewhat of a tease. I'm going to be raffling 10 copies of this book today. 10 free copies of this book today, but you got to wait till the end of the broadcast, right? And then I'll tell you how you get it. I'm going to raffle it off to 10 people today, but I'm not going to tell you how until we get to the end of the broadcast. So you're going to have to stick around for a while, right? That's not my ploy to get you to stick around. The ploy should be, look, this guy's bringing information. I need to be tuned in. I need to be locked in. So I'm not using that as a gimmick to keep you on here. I just want to give something away. That's me. I'm already giving content. Now I'm going to give away a book, right? So here we go. I'm still in chapter 4, which is entitled From the Assistant Principal 50. I'm still in chapter 4 from this book. I've been in that chapter for a long time because there's so much in that chapter. And the chapter is entitled, I'm More Than a Disciplinarian, right? I'm more than a disciplinarian. For the new folks that are watching today, we got one overall theme for this entire 55-week series. One overall theme, and the theme is, does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? Once again, does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? That's just the theme of the 55-week program. So my questions today will be questions number 20, 21, 22, and 23. So I'm covering 4 questions, and I'm going to try to do this within the hour. I don't want to go over. I may have been a little overly ambitious when I put together my agenda, but we'll see, right? But questions 20, 21, 22, and 23. And my topic today is wait. Your day doesn't end at dismissal time. Once again, wait. Your day doesn't end at dismissal time. That's my topic. Hey, Facebook, hit that share button. Let them know I'm getting ready to start. Twitter, hit that retweet button. Let them know I'm getting ready to start. And YouTube, hit that share button. Let them know I'm getting ready to start. We're getting ready to do it. So preliminarily to those 4 questions, those 4 questions from chapter number 4, when we talk about wait, your dismissal day doesn't end. You know, I had a longer title, but I knew that with Twitter and YouTube, it wouldn't fit. They would flag me saying I got to use X number of words, right? So I reduced it to this title. But what I really had was dismissal. Your dismissal doesn't end. Your day doesn't end at dismissal time. Your day starts at dismissal time. That was the full title. So again, your day doesn't end at dismissal time. Your day starts at dismissal time. Now, what does he mean? What are you talking about, Kafele? There's my first disagreement with you. You're saying the day starts at dismissal? Yeah. Here's what I mean. I'm saying that at dismissal, tomorrow begins. Y'all didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. I said at dismissal, tomorrow begins. So tomorrow doesn't begin tomorrow. Tomorrow begins once the students have left, right? Once the day is over. Because now there's a whole process toward getting ready for tomorrow. We don't get ready for tomorrow when we're like getting ready for work, putting on our clothes and getting ourselves together. No, the process of how the day will unfold begins after dismissal. That's where we get it started. So, but think about it. At dismissal, there's some things that have to be done simultaneously to starting that process. For example, you got meetings after school. Hey, see, aspiring folks watching me right now, write this in your notes. If you're one that needs to like get out of town at 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, whatever time the school day ends, you got things you got to do. If it's grad school, I get it. If it's picking up your child because nobody else can, I get it. But if it's anything else, like getting to the gym, getting to your favorite restaurant, cafe, whatever it is, you got some hours you got to put in. because there may be some meetings. What do you mean me? What kind of meetings? Like the post-observation conferences, for example, that you may not have been able to get to during the school day, but teachers have agreed based on the culture of the school that we can have the post-observation conferences immediately following dismissal. So now here you are, you got some, you did an observation, you had the pre-observation conference, and now you want to give the immediate feedback, the immediate follow-up to the teacher. And the only time that you may be able to fit that in is after school. So you may have that after school meeting with individual staff members, teachers, in terms of your follow up and follow through. But also there could be parent meetings. Because see, let me tell you something. Hear me. I've said this before, but it's no problem in repeating some things. I'm saying to you that I'm not having parent meetings during the school day. Well, let me say it this way. I'm going to try to avoid them at all costs. I don't want to have parent meetings while the students are in class learning, while the teachers are engaged in instruction. That's not the time for me to sit in my office and have a meeting with a parent. That's my time to be in one of those classrooms observing that teaching and learning, seeing if what we discussed previously, whomever and whatever teacher that may be, seeing if whatever we discussed is being implemented at that time, as opposed to sitting in a small office having a meeting with a parent. So I had to train and condition parents to understand that I'm an instructional leader. I can't have these meetings with you at the heart of the school day or at the start of a school day when I need to be throughout the building, when I need to be in classrooms, when you need to be throughout the building, when you need to be in classrooms. How am I going to be productive as leader of a school and I'm sitting in a space in an office having a long meeting with a parent about whatever, when I can do that after school and thereby continue to wear my label as instructional leader? That is crucial. That is critical. So I may be having parent meetings, but in addition to meetings with staff or meetings with parents, I might be having meetings with students. Right? So students that could not get to me during the day, but have things that they need to talk to me about, things they need to see me about, or maybe students that I need to see who have the time to talk to me after school. Maybe they're engaged in extracurricular activities and there's a window of time before they start. Say we dismiss at 3 and they don't have practice till 4. So between 3 and 4, I know I've got access to you. So maybe at that juncture, we'll have that meeting. But see, I don't want to have that staff meeting, and I don't mean a full staff meeting, but that teacher meeting, or I don't want to have that parent meeting, or I may not necessarily want to have that student meeting during instructional time, because I don't get to have that instructional time after school. I don't get to have that instructional time before school. So I got to maximize my time. I got to plan my time wisely. I got to organize my time so that I can do that which I need to do at the appropriate time. And then after school, I can do the things I just delineated. But it's not confined to a staff member, a parent, or a student. There could be community folk that need to meet with me, that want to meet with me, that want to pick my brain, that want to offer me a program that they've been thinking about, whatever it is. But I don't want to do that during the school day. I understand as being a leader that I have the latitude to have meetings with folks all day. I understand that. But I made a decision. This is just me personally now sharing my personal view with you, that I don't want that meeting at that time. Because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, school is about young people learning. At the end of the day, after all is said and done, school is about young people learning. But in your role as assistant principal, and principals watching me, you as well, you know this. You can't monitor learning. You can't impact learning if your days are spent in offices in meetings. You can't do it. So I got to free that time up. That's got to be my instructional leadership time. Let's go back to our theme for this 55-week academy. Does my assistant principalship benefit my school academically? Right? Does it benefit my school academically? So I'm saying to you, I hit the wrong one. There was one I was looking for. So I'm saying to you, if you're not in those classrooms, how does your leadership benefit your school academically? I don't know how it happens, right? So that's the meetings, but then in addition, and that's all after school is what I'm saying. Here's the one I was looking for. So now in addition to that, the debriefings. Oh man, how you gonna leave and go home without the debriefings? Now, of course, we're in the 21st century, so Zoom is real, right? Or distance learn virtual platform. I don't want to promote Zoom, whatever you use, it's real. So now we're in a situation where we can actually do this while driving home. You know, if you're going to look at the road and just have the audio and have the debriefing, right? Or when you get home. But here's the thing. I don't want to have a conversation with my administrative colleagues way when I'm home, because I may not be home until 8. Right? That was normal for me. Get home at 7, get home at 8. There's a varsity basketball game at night, get home at 9 and 10. I don't want to now get on a virtual platform with my administrative colleagues and we rehash the day and plan for tomorrow. That's a misusage of my time. That's family time. That's wife time. That's not time for me to look at the same faces I've been looking at since 7 o'clock in the morning. So therefore, I want to jump into that debriefing after school. And now let's debrief. What was the day? And then we come from different perspectives. You know, I talked about all that in the previous. You can go on YouTube and watch the previous video. So I'm not going to go in depth with that. I'm just going to say that you and I have to make sure that we carve out time to just debrief with our administrative team and anybody else that's in a leadership capacity on staff. Right? So that debriefing, because we're talking about our topic. Wait, your day doesn't end at dismissal, right? So now that was letter A, and letter B. We've got Kim Wilson Daniel out there keeping notes, so just to keep her organized. So now letter C, in terms of just after school activity, reflection and assessment of the day. So I'm talking about just your personal self-reflection and your personal self-assessment of the day. See, I don't want to string 2 days together and I haven't hit the pause button to just reflect on my performance as a leader, my leadership performance. I got to reflect on that. I got to let that DVD spin or turn, and I got to watch me in action. Like, who was I? And what attitude did I bring today? That's key. And was I walking in my why today? Was I walking in my mission today? Was I walking in my vision today? See, the DVD is going to tell me that. So that self-reflection's got to be woven in to what I do after school hours. And that's why I say, wait, your school day doesn't end at dismissal time. I got to find time to self-reflect, because after I reflect, I got to go back into it and assess, self-assessment. Why? Because I got to evaluate my performance. That's why. Right? So I got to evaluate my performance so that ultimately I can adjust. See, I gotta adjust because I want to improve. But if I'm not going to spend the time reflecting on my practice, reflecting on my leadership, assessing or evaluating my practice and leadership, then what adjustments am I going to make? What is it based on? There's no basis for it. See? I needed to be based on something, and that's going to be based on the data that I accumulated through the self-reflection, through the self-assessment. They matter. So now that's letter C. Letter D, planning and organization. This is where Crystal Allen's talking about time management is key. This is what I'm talking about now. I got to plan. I got to organize. See, I'm talking about after school. And guess what, y'all? I haven't even gotten to my topic yet. You see, it's just so much information. Somebody might say, but you on point right now. Yeah, but I'm in intro mode, right? See, I'm saying to you, You can't just listen, somebody, man. I'm getting so hyped over this particular where I am right now. You can't just walk into a school and just start doing. Like if you work in some like I remember when I was a kid, teenager, I worked in McDonald's for like a day or two. That was it. I ate I ate my whole check, so it didn't work out. Right. That first day, I just sat there and ate. I make no money. I said, this is not the place for me to work. Right. But here's the thing. I didn't have to plan for my day, man. I just went in there. They said cook these burgers and cook these fries, and they said clean the dining area, and they told me clean the parking lot. Matter of fact, that was my job. So I didn't have to plan for that. I just went in there and did it. But you can't go to your school and you don't plan. You gotta see the next day within your mind's eye before the sun goes down, right? Before the next day gets here. You got to already see the day unfolding in your mind and your imagination before the day has arisen, right? So you got to plan for that. You got to organize for that. You got to use your time wisely. I'm doing a whole session coming up soon. It's coming soon on planning, organization, and time management. That's coming. So that's part of what we're doing in these 55 weeks, but that's coming like soon, probably in November, right? So I'm saying to you, yes, you have to like you sitting there, you got meetings, you got debriefings, you got reflection and assessment, but now you got a plan. What's tomorrow going to look like? What's it going to feel like? And are you organized? Are you organizing the day subsequent to today? Are you organized for tomorrow? Are you organizing for tomorrow? All that matters. Moving forward. Letter E, finishing up today's work. Let me tell you something, y'all. Take it from a veteran. I know something about, and I bet you some of you know something about this too. I know something about letting today's work spill into tomorrow with the mindset, I'll get to it tomorrow. But guess what? Tomorrow's work accumulates too. And then we take the 2 days of work and let that spill into the next day. And now next thing we know, we are well behind in our paperwork. You know, we got paperwork. Our paperwork matters. So if you're procrastinating, I'll get to that tomorrow because I got so much I got to do. Then tomorrow, when tomorrow gets here, tomorrow's work comes with it. And then we keep putting off. So I made it, it was a ritual. I was going to say habit. I made it a ritual. Whatever today's work was, today's work is going to get done before this head hits the pillow. And that includes the reading of all emails and responding to them. Because I know something about reading an email, and in my mind, I'll respond later. Later never gets here. And now they're writing me a week later. Did you get my email? Yeah, I guess I forgot to respond though. See, in being highly organized, I'm going, and this is just me. You may have a different system, but I guess what I'm really saying is have a system. So for me, my system is simply going to be that I'm going to be organized, right? So I'm going to finish up my work. I'm going to read all the emails so that I can prevent all of that work spilling into a new day with the new day's work. That's how I'm going to do that, right? So letter F, here's a big one. Extracurricular activities. Once again, extracurricular activities. Hey, leader, I need to get up in the camera on this one. Hey, aspiring leader. Hey, assistant principal. Hey, principal, let me tell you something right now. If your students are playing athletics, playing sports, you have to be there. I don't care if you don't like the sport. I'm gonna give you a little scenario on that one too. You have to be there. You can't say I don't have time to go and attend these sporting events. And I don't mean just the home events. I mean the away ones too. You got to be there. So see, with all I'm saying here, I had to still organize time to get to those games. I had to be at those games. But let me. I may have said this before. I know I've written about it, but I'm gonna say this to you anyway. There's a sport that I do not like. I mean, I got zero interest in it. And that sport is soccer. Oh my God, I can't stand that sport. But soccer was big in my school, particularly with my Latinx students. It was big. And I was looking for all sorts of excuses not to go to those games because, you know, them games are long. They got them 3 periods and them periods are long. So I'm looking for all these excuses and I couldn't find one. So guess what? I was at those games, home games, away games. I was at those games and I did not know what I was looking at. I had no interest in it. But guess what? I was the leader of the school. It was non-debatable. It was non-negotiable. I got to be at those games. I remember we had a championship game. It was way down South Jersey somewhere. I'm up here in North Jersey, and it was torrential rain. Right? I don't mean like steady rain. I mean torrential rain. They don't postpone soccer games for rain. So now I'm out there. It's raining. The wind's blowing. It tore my umbrella in pieces. I'm out there in the rain. It's freezing, watching a game that I can't stand. When my kids saw me, I promise you, they saw me on the sidelines. When they realized I was there, they were in the middle of the game saying, "Hey, Principal Kafele! Hey, Mr. Kafele!" I mean, it's like their attention left the game for a minute. And I'll never forget that day because that day changed me. That day said to me, "Buddy, your presence at these games matters." Them kids in a championship game and yelling my name from the field to say, "We see you." Now, I never told them I didn't like soccer. but see, that said to me, I said, man, they care that I'm here. Well, I'm saying the same for you, particularly if you have achieved credibility in the eyes of your students. I mean, if you're not credible, if they don't care about you, if you're nobody to them, like, oh, him, right? You know, the thought of you was like, oh, him, right? Then they're not thinking about you. You don't matter. But if it's like, oh man, him, her, right? Like you, Dr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so is here. Oh man, we gotta ratchet it up a little bit. See, if that's how they see you, see, that matters, right? So I want you to keep that in mind. Let me see what Molly said about soccer here. She said soccer weather will make us prove how yeah, right. I mean, that soccer weather will make, I mean, they'll postpone a football game, you know, in that weather, but that soccer game plays on. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Oh man, that'll prove that'll prove your loyalty to them students, as Molly said, for sure, right? So let's keep moving. Home visits. Hey y'all, you know something? You know what's crazy? I'm still in my intro. I should have just made this the main course, right? So the home visits. Somebody might have said home visits. I'm a leader now. Aren't I above that? Right? Somebody says, am I not above home visits? No, it's still part of your job. It's not on your job description. In fact, it's not even on the teacher's job description. But it's just something that makes sense. That you're going to be at that game. I'm still on the game. That you're going to make that home visit because there's something you need to learn. Something you need to know, right? Or just establishing a stronger bond and rapport with the particular student. Because it's one thing to interact in school, but it's a different interaction at home. And it speaks volumes when you come outside of the building and go to the youngster's home anyway. I've never met a youngster ever, and I mean even my toughest students, I've never met a youngster that was disappointed that I showed up. I showed up. I can't count the amount of times I've shown up, but I've never met a student in my life that was disappointed because I came over. They may have been a little intimidated, right? And not knowing what I'm going to say, but you can read them. They're not mad. And then the next day, the whole school knows you were there because they told everybody Kafele was at my house last night, right? So everybody's talking about it. And then some of them are approaching you, particularly the elementary and middle school level, when you come into my house, right? See, but that's that building that relationship, y'all. That's that building that rapport. There might be someone out here watching today, or maybe one of your colleagues is somewhere cutting the grass that needs to be on this call that doesn't realize the power in the home visit. But I want you to think about it. I'm talking about all these things that are occurring after school. That's why I say, wait. Your day doesn't end at dismissal time. Wait. Your day, your leadership doesn't end at dismissal time. But I even added 4 other pieces here before I move on to my actual topic, right? I mean, I'm in my topic, but this is all intro. I said, beyond what we do after school, there's some staff members that are going to invite you to a baby shower. Right now, some people take the position, I'm not going to deal socially with my staff on that level, right? So, and I respect that. I'm not going to try to challenge that at all. But there are others who, because the teacher thinks so much of you, that they may want you to attend the baby shower, right? Particularly women, right? The baby shower, right? If you're invited, chances are you need to be there. Because if you're invited and you're not there, you might become teacher's lounge fodder, right? Or parking lot fodder. So chances are, if you're invited, you probably need to attend. So now that's your leadership's not ending over the weekend either. But let's go beyond the baby shower, the wedding. Oh man, I went to several weddings. So you may be invited to a wedding and the reception. And the teacher may really expect you to be there. But you being there may be good for the morale and the culture of the school. So your leadership, so somebody may be thinking, man, they don't teach this in grad school. Yeah, I know. But that's part of your leadership. Your presence at that wedding and that reception. You don't have to dance if you don't want to, because I never did. I ain't letting them see me dance. They ain't getting that on video, right? I just sit there and eat the food, right? So I'm saying to you, it's the same thing though, because as you go, it has implications for back at the ranch, at the school. It shows the human side of you. It shows the caring side of you. It shows the compassionate side of you. See, so you want to consider that leadership matters, right? And I'm just looking for yeah, here we go. So no, Dr. Greg Baker, it's on my notes. I didn't even know what you wrote. I just saw your name and said, let me put it up here. It's next. The funeral. See, the funeral, the memorial service. And see, the wedding, you may be able to negotiate yourself out of that internally, but the funeral of a staff member or family of staff, you have to be there. And if not the funeral, the viewing, you have to be there, right? That's pretty much non-negotiable. Your teacher's mom made her transition. Your teacher's dad made a transition, right? That's because we're family. I'm not talking about you going to score points. That wouldn't be ethical of me. I'm talking about you going because it's the right thing to do. That's what leaders do. That's a part of your leadership, right? That's a part of your leadership. So you want to make sure that you avail yourself when need be. Many funerals that I attended, I was asked to give remarks. I was asked to speak. So I had to be ready for that as well because of my role as principal. Right. But here's another one that a lot may not think of. And I guess this varies with locations, but I was an inner city principal. I was an urban principal. And every now and then you got students who have broken the law and students who therefore find themselves in juvenile detention. Well, you know something? Unless those students are transferred or placed in alternative school or whatever the case may be, they're still mine. So guess where I have to be from time to time if I have students who broke the law and who were arrested? I got to be at the juvenile facility. I got to be at the juvenile detention facility. So I'm there, and I'm talking, I'm counseling with young people with the hope that whatever it is that they did, it doesn't repeat itself. But it always spoke volumes when I walked in there, right? And one of the things I used to do, in addition to if I had students who were arrested, I was in a period in my life where I would speak at the local. It was here in Newark, at the local juvenile detention facility, literally every week. That's just something I did, unpaid. It was just something I made a commitment. I'm going to the juvenile detention facility to speak every week. So every week I'm in the gym speaking to these young men. And students that were with me years prior that had gotten themselves jammed up and were now incarcerated as in juvenile detention facilities, they'd be there. And they were excited. And the reason I know is because they were yelling my name out. Oh my God, Mr. Kafele. And you know, like a reunion type thing. And I'm like, well, wait a minute now. You did something now. We need to talk about that, right? So, you know, but I'm saying that to say this. Because I mattered in their eyes, even in that space, right? Even in that facility. But I saw fit, you know, they didn't teach me this in grad school. I saw fit that I needed to show up at that juvenile detention facility if one of my students had been arrested and thereby incarcerated in that facility. I felt that too was a part of my leadership, right? So I'm saying to you, if you're in an environment where there are students being arrested and they're your students, well, there it is. They're your students. So you probably need to provide some counsel when they're there as well. So that was just a little bit. I say a little bit. It's 11:37. That was a whole lot of intro, right? So so obviously that means some of today's lesson is probably going to spill into next week, but that's okay. You wouldn't know that unless I told you that. So one of the things I need to stop doing is telling y'all exactly what's on the agenda. So here we go. Question number 20 from the Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. I mean, from the Assistant Principal 50. Question number 20. I got a few questions, two questions under that question from the book. So questions I created from the question in the book. Number one, how frequent the question itself, do I participate in developing staff meeting agendas? So we're still talking about the theme of after school, right? But now I'm asking you, do I participate in developing staff meeting agendas? That's the question from the book. Now here's my question to address that question. Number one, how frequent are staff meetings held in my school? Now that's like one of them pet peeves for me. The frequency of the staff meeting, because I'm gonna tell you, and by the way, Facebook folks out there, hit that share button for me, somebody, because somebody needs to hear this. Twitter, hit that retweet button, and YouTube, hit that Facebook. I mean, hit that share button for me. I'm gonna get my words all mixed up. I'm saying here that in a perfect world, I would have access to my staff every week in terms of a staff meeting. In a perfect world, you've heard me say in previous weeks, as it relates to COVID-19, to teaching and learning, teaching and leading during a global pandemic. You've heard me say before that if everything is remote, I need a staff meeting every day. It doesn't have to be a full staff meeting, but I do need access to my staff on a daily basis. I can't go a day after day after day and I don't have access to my staff because I'm not in the building with them. And I need some feedback. I need information. I need to know things. I'm the leader. How am I leading a school and the teachers are spread out throughout wherever they live and they're engaging youngsters in instruction, but I'm not a part of that reality. And the only way I'm going to be a part of it is to engage them on this platform. So I'm going to have the meeting every day. It doesn't have to be a lengthy meeting. It could be 15 minutes. I just need to be able to see my staff and they see me and I hear from them and they hear from me. So, but in school, when we're not in a virtual situation, now I'm asking the question, how frequent are your meetings? For me, I've never been in a school where I could have them every Monday of the school year. But let me tell you something. I sure did need them. I sure did want them. Are there teachers in the building that wanted to meet every Monday? I doubt it. Unless it's just a teacher that's just a big supporter of Kafele, and I just like the things that he puts on the agenda to talk about, but that's like extreme, right? But I'm not talking about from the vantage point of my staff right now. I'm talking about from the vantage point of leading a school at an optimal level. I needed my staff. And here's why. I'm looking at the staff. I'm looking at the staff meeting as an extension of, or I'm paralleling it with what happens in a team meeting with a particular sport. So let's say football, since we're in the middle of the football season. So the two teams play a game. Well, they're going to come back together after the game. And they're going to discuss the game, but they're also going to analyze, break down, and critique the film of the game. They're going to break it down. And now the analysis, the breakdown of the film, the critique of the film, the dissection of the film forms the basis for practice for the rest of the week. Well, I'm saying here's the same thing with us. Teaching and learning in the classroom is the game. But now we got to go back to the film room and we got to break it down. That's the staff meeting. See, because the staff meeting is not dealing with administrative minutia. The staff meeting is dealing with teaching and learning. That's what we're addressing, teaching and learning. We're not dealing with the broken copier. We're not dealing with the shortage of paper. We're not dealing with when are the supplies coming in. That's email stuff. During the staff meeting, we're talking about teaching and learning. That's what we're talking about during the staff meeting. So therefore, I need to meet with my staff every week. I'm wearing the professional developer's hat. I'm wearing the instructional leadership hat, not the building manager hat, not the supply clerk hat, right? Not the repairman's hat, right? Not the maintenance man hat. I'm wearing the teaching and learning hat. So I need my staff regularly so that we can talk about that. That becomes the game film. Right, that becomes the team coming together and not listening to the principal preach a sermon. That's church, right? That's the pastor. That's the religious leader. I'm talking about the engagement of a staff in a full conversation, or broken up into segments, groups, conversation. I'm talking about a very productive meeting every week, preferably on Monday, to start the week, right? But I'm asking you again, how frequent are your meetings? But then looked at differently, think about the consequences to a school when those meetings are not occurring. Man, the consequences are great because we're not talking. I get we're having department meetings. I get we're having PLCs. I get all that, but I'm talking about the full staff. I get we're having grade level meetings. But I'm talking about the full staff coming together, right? So teachers that may not know one another as well as, say, same subject areas do. I want them to begin to know one another, right? Teachers who may not know one another the same way same grade level teachers know one another. I want them to get to know one another. I need the 6th grade to know the 8th grade. I need the freshman teachers to know the senior teacher. I need the kindergarten teachers to know the 5th grade, and so on. So I need to bring them all together so that we can have these conversations. See, we're talking about things that happen after dismissal. So I'm asking you, how frequent are your meetings? And I'm contrasting that with some of the stereotypes of the meetings that we have as leaders. Some of the generalizations, some of the things that we don't need to be doing. So again, that could be reduced to an email, and now we take care of business with the things that must be discussed. Right. So let's keep it moving. That was number one under do I participate in developing staff meeting agendas? Number 2, what role do I play toward developing the staff meeting agenda? Oh man, that's a big one. What role do I play toward the development of staff meeting agendas. Hey, AP out there, I'm asking you, what role do you play? See, do you have a role? Are you given the latitude to provide input into the development of a staff meeting agenda? Let me tell you something. I know in some schools that staff meeting agenda, or some people use the word faculty, so that faculty meeting agenda, I know that agenda matters exponentially. But I know in other schools that agenda is nothing but something on a sheet of paper. It's just a compliance measure. The whole meeting is compliance. Just to say, okay, we had the meeting. But it didn't translate into productivity in the classroom. See, if that meeting doesn't translate into productivity in the classroom, then I have to ask the question, why are we having it? Right? Why are we having it? There has to be a correlation between what's discussed in that meeting and potential outcomes in a classroom. And I can go beyond the classroom, who that youngster evolves into throughout life. So when you have that staff meeting, when you're putting that agenda together, you got to be thinking about that. How does this agenda correlate to the youngsters that attend our school being phenomenal at whatever it is that they decide they want to do with their lives? Or how does it translate into them becoming honor roll students, becoming students of the week, students of the month, being placed in an AP course or AP courses, getting accepted into the college of their dreams, or going into the field, the career of their dreams, right? How does this staff meeting translate into that, right? So I'm saying to you, it's not about just having a meeting to have a meeting. That's a waste of everybody's time, including mine and yours, right? They need to be purposeful, as Loretta just said, right? So here, I'm asking you the question, what role do you play toward developing the staff meeting agenda? I've told you guys on multiple occasions, those of you who've been with me since week one, that I never participated in putting together an agenda, because that's the kind of relationship I had with my superior at that time. So I was just a fan in the stands watching the game being played. Right, I was on the sidelines watching, but I was not. But coach, let me in. I never got that opportunity. I couldn't suit up, right, with the uniform, so to speak. Right. So here I didn't have it. But see, that assistant principal relationship has to be rooted in that one of the principal's main priorities is to develop you. So if you're not in that situation, don't worry about it. I'm talking about you in your situation when you become a principal. Are you putting your assistant principal in position to one day step into the role of principal? That's what I'm saying here. So you may not be that assistant principal that you would want to be, the one that I'm talking about here, but it doesn't mean you can't become that principal who is providing the assistant principal with opportunity to grow and develop into becoming principal. So I'm saying here, that principal with that mindset is going to seek out what it is that you have to offer. And here's a primary reason why. Because as assistant principal, you are seeing things that the principal may never see. Because at the end of the day, your roles are not the same. They may parallel instructionally, they must parallel. But the reality is that the roles could be different. So your principal may be seeing life through the lens of a principal, whereas you are seeing life through the lens of an assistant principal. So therefore, as an assistant principal, you may actually be closer to a lot of situations that need to be addressed than the principal. So therefore, you need to have input into that agenda, because there are things that need to be said in that agenda that the principal may not be privy to, that the principal may not be aware of, that it just may not be a part of the principal's view or lens in his or her capacity as principal. So you must be there because you are seeing things that the principal may not see. I'm moving on. Quite because I'm going to finish this lesson. Question number 21 from the book. Do I engage staff during staff meetings? So the first one I was asking, do you participate in the development of the agenda? But now I'm asking, okay, once the agenda is made, do you engage staff? Are you one of the participants in the meeting? So the question is, which is number 3, what role do I play at my school staff meetings? Do I speak? Again, what role do I play at my school's staff meetings? ... Do I speak? And here, I'll give you mine again. I never spoke. I did not know what it was to speak at a staff meeting as an assistant principal. I didn't know. I learned that as a principal, right? But as an assistant, wasn't my reality. So, but here's the thing. I told you guys in week 1 and 2. If you weren't with me in 1 and 2, just go to YouTube and pull up the video. In week 1 and 2, I said you got to use your principal as a real-time graduate course. So if you're not getting the exposure that you feel that you deserve, that's okay. Study your principal and ask yourself, what would I do comparably and what wouldn't I do? Right? What would I do that my boss does, and what are the things I would do differently? You got to ask yourself that question all the time. Hey, somebody, hit that share button for me, hit that retweet button for me. Let them know Principal Kafele is still on, still bringing this information, right? So here I'm saying you use this person as that real-time graduate school course to tell you who you would be in whatever situation and who you wouldn't be. And that may include in a staff meeting. Who would you be? Would you be utilizing your assistant principal? Will you be training your assistant principal to step into that role, to be an extension of your leadership and speaking to staff about a variety of different issues? Or are you going to kind of sweep that person to the side and they just sitting amongst the staff with the staff and it's your show, right? And then what types of agenda items would you be permitted to address? Those are things for you to think about when you make your transition to the principalship. What types of agenda items would you be speaking about, right? Would you allow your assistant principal to speak about? Those are critical, right? So yes, sir, Eddie. So now moving on, number 4, am I permitted to be a part of the discussion on teaching and learning? Said differently, is teaching and learning in the truest sense a part of our staff meeting agenda? So I'm just simply asking you, what are you guys talking about? And are you talking about what matters most? Teaching and learning. With that said, I got a quick passage I want to read to you from the Assistant Principal 50 on page 54, starting on 54, but on page 55. I'll read it quickly. It says, as one of the leaders in your school, it is imperative that you are viewed as someone important, someone that matters, as one who has much to contribute to the success of the school and as an educator. As long as you are seen as, for example, a full-time disciplinarian, it will be very difficult for staff to take you seriously as an educator or an instructional leader in the truest sense of what it means to be an educator and an instructional leader. See, staff got to see you as a leader. And just because you got assistant principal above your door and maybe your little nameplate says assistant principal, but all you doing is disciplining students all day, how are they going to see you as an educator? How are they going to see you as an instructional leader? Right? It's hard to see you that way. If that's not what you do, you're not going to see people on their title. You're going to see people on their deeds. You're going to see people on their actions. You're going to see people on what they do. Like yourself seeing me, you're not going to see me on my title. Like you go to my website and it got my picture speaking. It's got the things I do, right? But you can't base me just on the right wording on a website. You got to see me engaged in the work. So your opinion and judgment of me is probably, for most of you, on what you see on Saturday mornings, whether or not I know anything, whether or not I'm competent, right? Whether or not I'm worthy of getting up in the morning and listening to faithfully on a Saturday morning. Not on what I got on a promotional on a Facebook post to say join me on Saturday morning. It's what I do on Saturday morning that matters. So I'm saying to you, it's the same thing. It's not your title, it's what you do in that building that earns your credibility in the eyes of your staff. Right. So with that said, I'm on question number 22 from the book. And it says, do I attend PTA and PTO meetings? Now, I see it's 11:55. I'm almost there, y'all. Hang out with me. I don't want to spill this into next week because I got something else next week. So y'all just hang with me, right? Pretend it's 11:30. So here we go. Number 5, under question number 22 from the book. Does my school have an active PTA/PTO, parent-teacher association, parent-teacher organization, or just active parents? Does my school have it? Right? So here I'm saying to you, that's the first question. Just does it exist? And if it doesn't exist, why not? Right? Why not? Why is there not an active parent association in your school, parent organization in your school, or just parents being active in your school? That's for you to think about because you're a leader. Although the PTA, PTO have nothing to do with you. In most cases, they are a separate entity, a separate body that has nothing to do with the school. They're just associated with the school, but they're a separate organization with their own charter. However, as leader, I need it to exist. Here's why. I'm on question number 6. How active is my school's PTA, PTO, and what level of influence do I have toward making it stronger? What level of influence do I have toward making it stronger? That was number 6. So instead of me elaborating on number 6, I want to elaborate on number 7, which ties into it. What is the reason that I either attend or do not attend my school's parent meetings? Once again, what is the reason that I either attend or do not attend my school's parent meetings? So I got these broken up. I'm gonna go through them very quickly. Letters A through E. Letter A, because I want to be informed. See, as principal, as assistant principal, there's nothing that says I have to go to a PTA meeting. There's nothing that says I have to go to a PTO meeting. Nothing. But I never missed one in my entire career. I was a leader for 14 years and never missed a meeting in my entire career, right? Never. I made it my business. If we had a sporting event that night, I had to, and as much as I love being at them basketball games, I was at that PTA meeting. So here's why. Letter A, because I wanted to be informed. Letter B, I wanted the parents to know that I cared about the things that mattered to them. Let me say that to you again. I wanted the parents to know that I cared about the things that mattered to them. If I'm not there, it's sending a message. My absence is speaking loudly. Although I don't have to be there and everyone knows I don't have to be there, but the bottom line, my absence says to my staff, my parents, that this is not important. This doesn't matter in the broader scheme of things. I wanted them to know that I cared about everything that mattered to them. I want you to make sure that your parents know that you care about the things that matter to them. So therefore, there's another another area that we place on your plate that we say you got to attend those too. And I tell you, even as an assistant principal, I attended PTA meetings. Letter C, I wanted the parent to know that they mattered to me. So in letter B, I said the things that matter to them matter to me. But here I'm saying I wanted them to know that they matter. And I don't care if we're talking about a small PTA where there's a small turnout. It doesn't matter. Even if the turnout was small, if the turnout was low, I wanted those parents that turned out to know, but man, Assistant Principal Kafele, he cares about what we talk about. He cares about us. Or Principal Kafele cares about us. He cares about what we talk about, right? I wanted that to be, I wanted that to be blatantly, obviously, evidently clear to them, including, most importantly, the elected officials of that PTA. Letter D, it put me in great standing with the parents. See, because here's, they're not going to tell you this in grad school, so you get this from me now. You might want to put your ear to your speaker on this one. If you're a leader, there's going to be a point in your journey, but you all the people that are not watching right now, I wish they could hear this. Put your ear to the speaker on this one. If you decided you want to be a leader, or if you're in a leadership capacity, I promise you, you are going to run into a roadblock one day. You are going to fall into a pothole one day. You are going to trip one day. You are going to fall on your face one day. One day, somebody that doesn't like you is going to make life difficult for you, because we're talking about people, right? So, and we're also talking about the politics of education. That's real too. So that, I'm not saying it might happen. I'm saying if you are a progressive leader that's trying to effectuate change, it will happen. It happened to me. But you know something? Parents had my back. I'm not going to get into the specificity. That'll be in a book one day. Parents had my back. They took care of me. They took care of me, and they took care of it. I had nothing I had to do. Parents took care of it because I positioned myself so that parents would always be there for me as I showed them, demonstrated for them that I am always there for you. See, it's mutual. So I'm saying to you, again, letter D, it put me in great standing with parents. Letter E, it gave me an opportunity to inform parents, because see, the PTA meeting wasn't my platform. There's nothing on the agenda that says Kafele. But since I'm there, you think they don't want to hear from me? In fact, I'm the first voice they want to hear. So at every meeting, they said, Principal Kafele, come up and speak to us, just to give us a state of the school message. And I did. And then that laid the foundation for the rest of the meeting. So that's number 7. Let's go to the last one. Last question from the book. Question number 23. Do I attend school board meetings? I can do this one very quickly and I'll be done. Do I attend school board meetings? Under normal circumstances, I probably want to spend about an hour on just this alone, and also a PTA, PTO. I rush both of them. But let me tell you something about them school board meetings. If you don't attend school board meetings, unless your district discourages you from attending school board meetings, then you need to be at every school board meeting. You need to be there. You need to sit in the front row. You need to be at those meetings. That's unavoidable. That's undebatable, non-negotiable. If you are an aspiring leader, if you are an assistant principal, if you are a principal, you need to be at your school board meetings. Why? Man, I need till 1 o'clock to tell you why, but I'm gonna give you the short answer. Number one, that's the governing board, the governing body of your district. That's the superintendent's boss, the school board. See, your boss is the superintendent, but the superintendent got a boss called the school board. And then if they're elected, then their boss is the community. And if they're appointed, then their boss is the mayor, right? So you can't operate in some vacuum and you don't understand the politics of your district. You don't understand the governance of your district. You got to have a firm grasp of that too. And I'm gonna speak for me on this one. I had that firm grasp. In my 14 years, there was never, ever a person on that board that I did not know. Now, does that mean I knew them prior to them coming on that board? Nope. I made sure I got to know them. And not only did I make sure that I got to know them, but I made sure that I invited them to come to my school anytime they wanted to. The door is wide open. Just come on in. See, they don't tell you that part in grad school. I don't know where they tell you that part. They ain't gonna they might not even tell you that at the conference either. But you getting that on Saturday with Principal Kafele. You got to be at that meeting. So number one, just because that's the governance board of the district, they're making a lot of decisions. And you got to know about those decisions. But number two, and this is even bigger, this is the time when the district does its business. How you gonna be a leader and you are not at the meeting when the business is conducting, when the district is conducting business? And you a leader? And you're not privy to what's going on in terms of what the district is doing? That's when the business, when the district is engaging in its business. And as a leader, I'm not going to put that on a teacher. I'm not going to put that on a counselor. But I'm going to say to a leader, you cannot avoid that meeting. You have to be at that meeting because you're part of the leadership of that district, and you have to know the business of the district. So between the fact that it's the governance board or governance body who writes policy, and then that this is where business is engaged in, where the business of the district occurs, you cannot be a leader legitimately in my eyes if you are not attending your school board meeting. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to share this with you, then I'm going to close it out. When I was in, I worked in 4 different schools, 3 different districts. Of those 3 different districts, those 3 different, of those two different, 3 different districts. Yeah. 2 of the districts required us to be at the board meeting. It's like, you better not miss the meeting. You better have a legitimate excuse. But the other district, the 3rd one, they kind of discouraged leadership attendance. It's like they were saying, you don't have to be here. Don't come here. And I never understood it. I never questioned it. And to this day, and this is years, like decades ago, I still don't understand it. Right. But that's what it was almost 2 decades ago. But that's what it was. But for me, I had been conditioned in the 1st district that the assistant superintendent, who was my immediate supervisor, he was taking attendance of all the administrators, all the principals. So he's sitting in the front, off to the side, looking at us over his glasses and taking attendance to make sure that we were present. But I got to tell you this. One of the reasons that we had to be there, and one of the reasons that really districts should require principals to be there, is because they have that section of the board meeting called community comments. And if the community, if a community person comes up and has an issue with the school, with a specific school, and you're the principal of that particular school, how's the superintendent going to answer that question? What does the superintendent know about the specificity of the ins and outs of a school? That's why the principal's sitting there. So now for us in that particular district, and I can call it a district because I'm not saying anything negative, it's East Orange, New Jersey. The superintendent would simply call our name, hey, principal so-and-so, come up to the podium and address that. And now we can address that instead of the superintendent trying to fumble around, trying to figure out what in the world is this person talking about, because I'm not at the school like that. The principal is. So that became a part of my psyche, that I just attend board meetings. So that district where principals were not supposed to be there, guess what? One principal was at every board meeting. Yours truly, because that's how I was conditioned. That's how I was trained. So I was the only one. I don't know how I was being looked upon by my colleagues, but in my mind, the business of the district was being conducted. The community was speaking. The superintendent was speaking. I needed to be there to hear and process everything that was being said, because I am a leader in that district, right? So moving on. Let me put another one of you guys up here. I'm just about done. So here, I said I was done, but let me just throw this at you real quick. Do I understand fully, therefore, the purpose of the school board meeting? And do I understand the significance of school board meetings relative to my leadership effectiveness? I won't elaborate on any of those. I will just say, once again, you need to understand the politics of the district in addition to the educational part of a district. That is a part of your leadership as well, because there are some in our business who do not survive it because they don't understand how to maneuver around and through the politics of the district. Those are real too. So let me close it out by saying, here's my homework assignment, my parting question. I told you I got a raffle today too. My parting question is, in what ways will I make my leadership evident beyond the school day? Again, in what ways will I make my leadership evident beyond the school day? Next week, I'm going to continue with chapter 4. It's just so much in that chapter. I'm going to continue to tell you, get your hands on the Assistant Principal 50, principalkafele.com, ascd.org, who is my publisher, ASCD, those 4 letters, .org, and then amazon.com or barnesandnoble.com, get it anywhere. Just get it, right? Get them both because they go hand in glove with the 55-week virtual assistant principal leadership academy. Next, visit my website at principalkafele.com for additional resources. Like and follow my new Facebook page, which I need to get really busy on, which is called Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy. And subscribe to my YouTube channel called School Leadership Thoughts. If you're a leader or an aspiring leader, that channel is for you. You need to be on there. So make sure that that you subscribe to that channel. COVID-19, I tell you all the time, it's all about this. Right? This doesn't speak to your politics. It speaks to your willingness to allow other people to live. So just get your mask, put it on when you go outside, and then make sure you're taking care of your diet and your exercise. Now, I got a quick raffle I want to do. I got all these books here. I got 10 books I want to give away. I want to give away this book. In fact, let me show you. I got a stack of them. Here you go. I want to give these away for free. I want to give them away. If you already got it, then see if you can compete for it with somebody that you know. But this is gonna be a little tough on you. Let me tell you what you got to do. And you only got like 3 minutes to do it because I'm gonna cut it off. So here we go. I got a question for you, and I'm gonna give you. I'll tell you the amount of time I'm gonna give you in a minute. But here's the question. I need you to tell me within the allotted time. I need you to tell me what city did I represent as far as a jersey on week number 10? Again, what jersey, what city did I represent in week number 10 of the Virtual Assistant Principal Leadership Academy? You can't provide your answer on one of these social media threads. You have to find my email address. And when I say my email address, I'm talking about my professional email address. So if you find my Verizon email address, that's the wrong one. Don't even bother because I don't check that. It's just there for the bill collectors, right? So you have to find my professional email address, write in the email, right in the email, what city I was wearing week number 10. Put that in the email. And then you have the time right now is 12:13. I'm giving you until 12:18. And after 12:18, don't bother to send me anything. I'm not even going to open it. I'm going to delete it. So send me the email. If you get it in the first 10 people, I will tell you you got it. Then I'll ask you, send me your address so that I can send you a free copy of the Aspiring Principal 50, right? So again, you have until 12:18 to tell me what shirt I was wearing week number 10. So with that said, good luck to you. Have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Old school, new school. I approve this message. And then put your fists and count back with me. 1, 2, 3. Bam! Good luck to you guys. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you next Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern. Let's see if we can give away 10 books today. Peace.